Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the 2015 NHL Playoffs. Right now, we're going to take a look at the Pittsburgh and Rangers series, a very interesting series. We're going to cover it with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy, thanks so much for being back with us.
Thank you for having me, Peter.
All right, Joe, let's jump right into this, man. Pitt and Rangers. This is an interesting series, right? The Rangers obviously have home ice. They should be a big favorite here. Right now, they're minus 231 at Pinnacle to win the series. Pitt's plus 202 on the other side. And it's tricky, though. The Rangers are obviously a supremely strong team. Hard to poke holes in any aspect of their game except maybe face-offs. That's maybe their biggest weakness. But Pitt, anytime you have Crosby and Malkin, and getting a big underdog line, that's always a tempting thing to do. And I guess the big question is always Marc-Andre Fleury. Historically, he's collapsed in the playoffs. But once again, he's had an excellent regular season. And if he comes in and can in any way replicate that regular season in the playoffs, getting Pitt as a huge underdog line with Fleury having a good series and Crosby and Malkin, maybe they could steal it. Maybe they'd be the play with the side with value. But Pitt historically has not been a good bet in the playoffs. Interesting series. What's your take on it, Joe Duffy?
Well, Fleury's had his share of weak playoffs, but last year against the Rangers, he actually played pretty well for most of the series, and that was a wild and crazy series indeed. But he was not the reason that they lost. Look, Pittsburgh is, as I always like to say, they are probably the top team in the NHL, being predictably unpredictable. When the Penguins, when they're heavy favorites in the playoffs, I generally figure they're a good play to go against. When you have a kid like Crosby, he's, kind of like Peyton Manning, Clayton Kershaw, or Clayton Manning, as I like to call him sometimes, where you got a guy who is a superstar but tends to come up small in the playoffs. But as a huge underdog, I think he is a guy you want to bet on because he is capable of exploding at any time. And the same with Malcolm, kind of when you least expect it. So I think this is really a matchup that the Rangers did not want. Yes, the Penguins did skid into the postseason. They won the final game of the year. But look, we know that they're much better than they've shown. They scored 25 goals in the final 15 games for 1.67 average, but they averaged 2.86 per game in the first 67 games. And when you've got the proven very top heavy, they are capable of exploding. So yet another example, if we were previewing this without taking the odds into consideration, I would take the Rangers, but I'm telling you, the Penguins are a live dog here. From a betting perspective, I think the Penguins are a live underdog here.
Yeah, the question is just, do the Rangers have enough weaknesses to give Pittsburgh, maybe they have a 10, 15, 20% chance of winning the series, but do they actually have like a 35% chance of winning the series or so, which is what they would need to have value at plus 202. I mean, they're so stacked on defense, Lundqvist in goal. They've got, when they're healthy, their forwards are awesome. So maybe Pitt'll steal, 1, 2, or even 3 games and look, significantly better than the Rangers at times, but do they really have, a 33% chance, 35% chance of actually winning the series outright?
They do. Remember, they took them to 7 games last year, or probably really more accurately, the Rangers wound up taking the Penguins to 7 because they came from behind 3-1. The Rangers, Henrik Lundqvist, he's a proven star, but remember, he's coming off an injury. He had that freak neck injury or throat injury, actually. He looked poor in his first game, and people were starting to say there was going to be a goalie controversy because Talbot played so well, but the Rangers can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief as certainly Lundqvist went into the postseason strong in his final couple of games, and he got better each and every game. Still, I think ideally the Rangers would have probably liked to have had him get 2 or 3 more games under his belt going into the postseason. So another one of those cliches, I think it's overused. You hear it in every single sport where maybe those talking heads will say, I think the key is that first game. But in here, if the Penguins can get some momentum, especially if they can get their talented guys, namely Malkin and Crosby, if they can get them untracked in the playoffs, it could get scary. So this is one of those that could go either way. A surprise would be if the underdog wins it in a short series. The Rangers could either win a short series or the Penguins could win it in 6 or 7 games. But again, from a betting standpoint, Pittsburgh, I'm gonna say it again. Expect the unexpected when it comes to the Penguins, and that usually means go with the underdog.
All right, I think you might be right there, Joe Duffy. Lean in Pittsburgh at plus 202. Tell us what OffshoreInsiders.com is all about, Joe.
We'll do the NHL playoffs. We're doing great in Major League Baseball as we were recording this. Just saw another underdog winner came in. We actually have more underdog winners this year in baseball than we have all losers combined. The master, the underdog, and the small favorite. NBA playoffs are bounce back theory, which is the better-looking stepsister of the zigzag. We'll explain it. Email me. I'll be happy to explain to you why we do so well in the playoffs, why we do so well in baseball. OffshoreInsiders.com.